PLAYBAW podcast. Three, two. It's Jed the Sloth, the MILF Hunter. How your mama know? And you're tuned into the PLAYBAW podcast. Just what the world needs, another podcast.
PLAYBAW podcast pilot episode. It's Jed the Sloth, the MILF Hunter. How your mama know? And you're tuned in to the PLAYBAW podcast. It's the pilot episode. I'm allowed to fuck everything up tonight. This is the trial run, except it's the real show, but it's the trial run too. It's the beta. Not like that. Welcome to the PLAYBAW podcast. It's Jed the Sloth, the MILF Hunter. I said that already. But tonight, we're going to talk about where it all started. I'm going to talk about what it means to be white dirt, what it means to be the MILF Hunter, and what it means to be a PLAYBAW. Shout out to all the MILFs out there. Shout out to all the PLAYBAWs out there. Well, let's get right into it. Let's start it back to the year 2016 when I founded what is now known as White Dirt. The WD right there. Look, one little thing. Do it with me here. Take your left hand and make a W. Take your right hand and make a D. I just did it backwards. Take your right hand, left hand, D. White Dirt. All right. So back in the year 2016, whenever I moved back to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where I'm from New Orleans, I came back to a town that I didn't really want to come back to at the time, because when I grew up, there was, as far as white folks go, there was two kinds. There was your preps, what we used to call your preps, who went to private schools, Catholic schools, Baptist schools, Episcopal schools, all these type of schools, and their dads were lawyers. They worked in the plants, doctors, construction company owners, basically every sort of right-wing and libertarian you can get. I'm just playing. Shout out all my right-wing and libertarian and centrist people as well. But I didn't fit into any of that. I didn't fit into that mold. And on the other hand, you had the white trash people. You had the rednecks, the hicks, the urban white folks, the type of people that were raised in a motel hotel on the side of the highway. Love those people, but I didn't really fit in there. Parents didn't go to prison. I wasn't raised in a slum or anything like that. I didn't sell drugs in high school. So I wanted to create something whenever I came back to Baton Rouge that was for me and people like me. People like you, people like me in a small town. So I created White Dirt because I figured, what do you need to build anything on? A foundation. And what is pretty much any foundation on the planet Earth made of? You guessed it, dirt. And it doesn't matter. You build a nice pretty mansion on top of dirt with hurricane shutters and 9 foot in the air up to code for the hurricane and the flood waters, and you go inside in the living room and your MILF wife shows off the hard pine wood floors and the ebony finish and the polyurethane, and then you go in the bedroom and it's white shag carpet for the shagging and for the meals, baby. Regardless, you're going to have to sweep. You're going to have to mop. And what is the first thing that a rich MILF mama tells you to do? Take them shoes off. Hey, take them shoes off. Because why? Because you're going to attract dirt. No matter what, you need dirt. It's going to be around. No matter how much you try to hide it, sweep it, multiply, divide it, it is going to be there. And that is where White Dirt come from. People ask me, what is White Dirt? Is it a group? Is it a record label? It's a restaurant? It's a gang? What is White Dirt? White Dirt, from its very inception, established in 2016, was a platform. Nothing more, nothing less. A platform to where things can help other things grow and go like this. You know, Joe Blow here might know how to do this thing, but this other guy or lady might not know how to do that thing, but they know how to do something else. So Joe Blow teaches this person this thing, they teach this person this thing. They teach this person this thing, but they don't know how to do this thing, so they teach this person this thing, and you grow together. That's White Dirt. That's why we got wrestling. That's why we got community events. That's why we got music. That's why we got video games. That's why we got football. That's why we got MILFs. All right. Shout out Disobey. I see you in the chat, baby. Jet 'em. So, that being said, me personally as an artist, I first started White Dirt. I was way back in, I went by DJ Jed the Sloth. It was a SoundCloud thing at the time. I had weird spelling. I used the S as a $, all that good stuff, way before it was cool. It was never cool. It was cringe back then. It's cringe now, so I stopped doing it. Shout out to everybody that still does it. So, I went through DJ Jed the Sloth for a while, and then I went through the Vampire Pimp Out the Swamp era, and then I went and became the MILF Hunter, which I still am today, but in the current era, in this post-COVID world, I am in the PLAYBAW area. And I didn't come up with that. It's not me. I'm from Louisiana. Anybody from Louisiana knows we don't pronounce the word B-O-Y. We pronounce it baw. Google it. There's a world famous haircut known as the ball cut. Go look it up. You might see a couple pictures of it on a Korean man or something like that. That ain't the right kind. We talking about New Iberia man, ball man, stuff like that. So I used to play football for Tulane University back in the late 2000s and early 2000 teens, and I'm going to get more into that later. But I used to play with a dude who was from a town called Destrehan, and he would just effortlessly sneak in the term play ball. And he'd be like, I don't know about that one, play ball. And he would just sneak it in the best, it was his culture, man. He didn't do it as a gimmick like me. He did it, that's just the way he talked. As well as whenever I worked in the New Orleans service industry at a place called Slice on Magazine Street. No longer there. Neither is this guy. Rest in peace. I guess this is sort of an homage to him. He was the quintessential New Orleans guy. His accent, his style, the way he lived his life, everything about him. He was a quintessential New Orleans guy, and he would hit those. Okay, play ball. Hey, you want to hit this? You want his dad play ball? And he would just, to this day, I'll never forget them play balls he just hit you with. I was talking whenever, since about 2020, me and my closest cohorts, we have been in a group chat together, and it's called the Play Balls with a Z at the end. Any kind of account, Netflix, Hulu, HBO, all these things. My account within the thing is Play Ball. It's a meme amongst friends that just ended up becoming a thing. And the symbol with the two pistols like this and the cursive Play Ball, I just, that came up in a group chat where I was like, man, I could just picture, actually I have this real life vivid memory. I was at Pard's in Denham Springs, Louisiana in like 2002. And I remember seeing a lowrider jacked all the way to the ground. I don't know what it's called. I'm not into cars. Help me out, car people. Mustang. Shout out Mustang Mafia. Just going over these speed bumps ever so slowly, just scraping the ground in like a S10 or something like that. And I said to my buddy John Tiller, shout out John Tiller, shout out Tillerverse, shout out Scumbag. I said I could just picture seeing across the back windshield, tinted windshield, just play ball with the guns in cursive. And then I made that shit into a real life thing. So go check out my new single, Play Ball. I mean, this is my first song I've released in about 2 years. And I'm just having fun with music again. And also, I've been working on the music video / short film for a song, Play Ball. And there's some snippets out and stuff like that. But it's going to take me about 3 months to make it. It's basically a full short film. It's the most ambitious thing I've ever worked on. And go through and look up a White Dirt film playlist on this very YouTube if you want to go look at some of my work if you're new to it. Because I never know who's watching these things. I never know. I know I'm going to have some of my best friends watching it. And I may eventually have some strangers. And maybe eventually some sponsors. Cha-ching. If you remember the Truly Gang days. I'm 4 months sober. I hadn't had a drink of alcohol. Tomorrow makes 4 months, makes 120 days. I will probably break that this weekend for the Tulane Ole Miss game. So casting this video is just the biggest feat I've ever had. Scheduling, getting people on board, budgeting, getting help. Shout out the architect. I mean, a lifesaver lately. Been helping me out. He's a very talented guy. I'll link him in the description. You'll be seeing more out of him very soon. But yeah, Play Ball. It's very hard to cast female actresses in my videos because they're all real life MILFs, man. And they are always busy as fuck. They always got a lot going on. It's really hard to get them on. They always want to. They're always enthusiastic. But when it comes down to brass tacks, they got shit to do. And I respect that. I live what I talk about in my songs. So, that's what's been going on with me. That's a quick rundown. I'm trying not to make this last all night. I'm trying not to make this boring. But also, I realize the value of long form content. I do want to create stuff where you can go wash the dishes. You can go change your baby's diaper. You can go cut the grass. You can do anything and just listen to my podcast. You don't necessarily have to be engaged with it. You can listen to it over a couple days, or whatever. You can go back to it. You can listen to it twice. You don't necessarily have to be engaged with it. But I do want to do it live like this once a week because I heavily believe in consistency, doing a thing together in the moment. That is something I think that's missing from most millennials' lives. Back in the 90s, I used to love watching Monday Night Raw and TV and just knowing that millions of other people were doing the exact same thing I'm doing right this very moment. And if you missed it, you missed it, man. You had to go to school the next day and get the spoilers, Oh. Speaking of TV, I've played football on TV more times than you've been to a game. No, I'm kidding. It's football season, and I spend a lot of time trolling LSU fans on Facebook. So I am a former Tulane football player. I love Tulane, and we are probably in our greatest football era ever right now. We have the biggest game that since I can remember coming up this weekend as we take on the Ole Miss Rebels in Ullman Stadium. People don't understand how prestigious Tulane University's football program is. Back in the day, from about the 30s to the late 70s, we had the biggest stadium in the South, Tulane Stadium. One of the first ever Super Bowls was played there. Big concerts like, Led Zeppelin, Leonard Skinner, James Brown, I believe, big time artists used to play big shows there. It was like 80,000 or something like that. It was a huge stadium in uptown New Orleans. Come the 70s, there was a effort to have dome stadiums, and the Houston Astrodome was the first ever dome stadium in America, and they built the Astrodome. So back then, Houston and New Orleans were fighting to be the oil capital of the South. So naturally, New Orleans had to build the Superdome, which is awesome for the Saints. Terrible for Tulane University, which is 10 minutes across town. It's a heavily transplant university where people are not necessarily predisposed to college football. They like the Giants, they like the Jets, they like the Pats, they like all of their NFL teams that they come from in the Northeast, but they didn't grow up with like Southeastern Conference footballs. Which leads me to my next point. Tulane University, what a lot of people don't realize, has more SEC titles, yes, Southeastern Conference titles, than 7 of the current programs. LSU fans they love to try to nullify that and act like that doesn't matter and this and that. But what they're really just trying to deflect from the fact that they didn't know that, and they don't really know anything about Tulane, which why would they? But that point being that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't know football. Most of them. I know a lot of good LSU fans, but let's be honest. It is just not a good situation for them currently. So, this past weekend, Tulane played South Alabama, and a lot of people don't realize South Alabama is actually a good football program. They won 10 games last year. So I was actually worried about this game. I thought this was a trap game, but what I wasn't worried about is our quarterback, Michael Pratt. I'm also not worried about the defense because look at this play right here off the bat. Fumble! We forced a fumble right off the bat, and then Michael Pratt just immediately goes to work. We have a nasty defense. Yes, we lost some of our best players last year, but the transfer portal was really good to us. Look at that big 24 up on that board right there. I'd be willing to bet you in the next month, LSU will not have a number by their name, and Tulane will. I mean, we need to win this game this weekend against Ole Miss. Nonetheless, Michael Pratt right there. Michael Pratt. This is his third year starting with Tulane. He didn't transfer anywhere. He wants to be here. He knows he's that man. He knows he's him in uptown New Orleans. This was the first game of his senior year, and he's already tied the all-time record for touchdowns at Tulane University. He, to me, is – look at this guy, number 2 for South Alabama. Great player. I respect that guy. He played his heart out. Didn't think he got that one there, but he did. So, Michael Pratt, this dude, to me, he reminds me of a more laid-back Drew Brees. He's sort of like Joe Burrow meets Drew Brees. He's out there joking around. He's having fun. He's like a wholesome kid. He looks like he probably doesn't curse, stuff like that. But, look at this guy. You can just watch him and just see him chunk the ball, and the receivers go hard for this guy. They fight for yards in our little-ass 30,000-seat stadium. But the thing about the Tulane football stadium called Ullman, look at that rainmaker down the field, just plops it in there, no one even close. Touchdown, green wave. Our third down song is Vulture Island from Rob 49, by the way. Pretty neat. The thing about Tulane is, I forgot. Oh, the stadium, Ullman Stadium. It is kind of like Duke basketball. It is this intimate, intense, crazy experience. Everyone's close to the field. It's like, big stadiums. The fans are so far back away from you. There's just so much noise, and it all goes upwards out of the stadium. Not at Ullman. That hit right there scared the shit out of me. That dude Pratt got peeled backwards. The last thing you ever want to see. But guess what? Hops right back up, drops the ball, but wasn't a big deal. He ends up being fine, shaking back. He kind of hurt his knee a little bit as well. But he had 200 yards before halftime. You know, the cameraman fucked that one up. I thought the quarterback threw that thing out of bounds, but in actuality, you just can't tell they scored a touchdown. So, USA hanging in there with the green wave, but once again, it's going to be hard for people to contain this dude, Michael Pratt. You know, when you're watching this side view right here, and you just look at him, he doesn't hold on to the ball. He just chunks it. You could just tell when a quarterback is confident, and it makes you confident watching him. It's like I've watched really bad Tulane football teams for a long time. I was part of some bad teams, and we had a good quarterback when I went there, Ryan Griffin, who broke school records as well. But I'm just saying that confidence, and you know, once again here, we leave away with the victory last weekend. So Tulane Green Wave 1-0, and I cannot say the same for the why can't I get this to work? Oh, wait a second. The LSU Tigers. I cannot say the same. I don't know why I can't get my graphic to pull up. I had a graphic. But anyways, the LSU Tigers, not only did they lose the other night, but they got their ass handed to them. It's not like they got outplayed or outcoached. They looked like they didn't know what was going on. They looked like they didn't know. The receivers didn't know where they were running. Harold Perkins, for some reason, is trying to chase slot receivers down. I mean, what it all comes down to, without taking all night, it all comes down to the LSU propaganda machine, and I don't know why these people fall for this shit every single year. Maybe, I don't know. I get it. They want to be part of something. But this is whenever you have this expensive, rich, money-hungry, Death Star empire of a propaganda machine where this entire fucking town bends their knee to this fucking purple and gold Nazi regime. That's hyperbole. And you lose to a 2-win team. You went 6 and something the year before that. You went like 5 and something the year before that. You fired one of your best coaches of all time, who is now sitting on our sideline every game, Ed Ogeron. Shout out Coach O. And for some reason, you come out, you go to the SEC championship, but you get slaughtered. It's not even close. And then you play Drew Brees' coach Purdue team. I have no fucking clue why they were able to start the year off at number 5. So what happens is this huge hype machine. Trust me, I grew up in Baton Rouge. I watch it every single year. I know this LSU culture like the back of my hand. My mom worked at LSU. I know without a doubt the propaganda machine. And these poor fools fall for it every year. They think they're better than people because of their fucking football team. And they come out and they just get fucking annihilated. They're nowhere near as good or as talented or as put together as they think they are. They get embarrassed on national TV. They've been talking shit. They've been telling me I'm delusional because I support a subpar football team. And I speak factual information that Tulane University is the best football program in the state. It's no longer LSU. And then they tell me I'm delusional and laugh at me like I'm some big fucking joke. Like I dress up in costumes and wear rings and hold up unlit cigars and fucking MILF Hunter Stunners. And then they come out and fucking get embarrassed while my team is fucking doing what they're supposed to do. LSU, you better not fucking lose to Ole Miss this year and we beat them, because I promise you, you ain't never fucking seen ignorant. Enough of that. All right. So another thing that really chapped my ass, I'm trying to get all the shit that pissed me off out the way because I'm not really trying to be that guy. Another thing that severely chapped my ass this week is I'm a huge wrestling fan. I really would like to reserve my wrestling section on this podcast for my own endeavors, my own faction, Disobey. And we will get to that at a later date. We'll have some Disobey guys in the studio eventually, if we can resolve some personal matters that we're going through right now. But nonetheless, Oh, are there any AEW fans out there? Yeah, I didn't think so. So, there's tons of talking heads, Twitter dudes, podcasts, YouTubers, you name it, Facebook fucking moms, cosplayers, anime nerds, dweebs, weebs, and everything in between who have discussed the CM Punk saga in AEW ad nauseum. So I'm not going to get into great detail and bore the people who are probably listening that know all this shit already. But if you've been under a fucking rock or you don't watch AEW or don't follow it, which I do not blame you, CM Punk is the only reason anybody besides the small cosplay, anime, Japanese, romanticized Japanese culture, dildo match, ass fucking dweeb ass nerds, besides them, who spend their fucking entire life trying to defame Jim Cornette and getting triggered by him and this and that. They're more delusional than LSU fans. We went to high levels of delusion to toxic levels of delusion here from LSU to AEW fan base. On the other hand, you have a lot of professional wrestling fans out there who were deprived of a worth the fuck program to watch and follow. Remember at the beginning of the show, we talked about experiencing something live and being able to follow it weekly and be excited about it together with millions of other people. Yeah, the AEW is not that. It was for about a good 6-month period there where I could go to New Orleans with my friends and watch AEW from the Lakefront Arena where legendary WCW shows have been over time. And, you know, back around 2016 or 17 when WrestleMania came to New Orleans, they had NWA promotion there, and Cody Rhodes, you know, and Kenny Omega had these, you know, packed houses, hanging them from the rafters, where things seemed like a revolution was happening. But these stupid, delusional, fucking rocker wannabe, duck face, freaking Trump supporting, transphobic, all that shit, buckaroos, if you will, cannot rest until they destroy professional wrestling. Now, this motherfucker right here, Tony Khan, I could respect this guy if he had the slightest bit of interest in running a professional wrestling company. But this guy is a son of a billionaire. If you don't know who Tony Khan is, he is the son of Shad Khan, who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, who is a self-made billionaire, if you will. Literally. He made like mufflers or bumpers or some shit like that. Literally American dream. And his son is just blowing his fucking money away running an after-school program instead of a wrestling company. It's the biggest indie promotion in the world, man. These people motherfucking, they fantasize and romanticize fucking Japanese wrestling and all kind of fucking bullshit. I'd never intended on shitting on Japanese wrestling, but dude, I'm tired of seeing dildo matches. I'm tired of seeing flips and flops and spots and dots and socks, you know. I want to see real fucking professional wrestling. And there was a short period there where this fucking dude, CM Punk, was able to create that feeling again. His feud with MJF, he knighted that man. I'm not on this episode going to go down the MJF path and talk about how they've taken a big shit all over that man's career and they're killing him. But nonetheless, he's a smart guy and he knows how to make a lot of fucking money out of a stupid motherfucking billionaire idiot. So, CM Punk tries to bury the hatchet with the Young Bucks. They set up a meeting in Atlanta. This motherfucker flies to Atlanta. They cancel the meeting. One of the most hated men in wrestling. Look at that right there. AEW's top merchandise seller. They released this, and the next day they fire his ass. There ain't nothing business-like about that. You know, I'm tired of seeing this fucking shit up on the screen. Let me go back to my hard cam because I want everybody to hear me right now. I'm not going to take the glasses off. I'm going to save that for when I'm really getting my shit, and I'm just trying to speak facts here. This motherfucker, CM Punk, turned your company around. Motherfuckers like me, people who hadn't watched wrestling in 20 years, were tuning in just to see this fucking guy, just to feel something, man. You know what I'm saying? And they did nothing. I don't know why this motherfucker Tony Khan made these his buddies, his pals, his friends, legitimate power positions in his fucking company. Who does that? So they have done nothing but try to fucking defame and destroy this man who was only trying to participate in a wrestling company. And, you know, God bless him. I hope he fucking takes this motherfucker, this googly-eyed John DuPont wannabe head ass motherfucker. I hope he takes him for fucking as much money as he can. So basically, I had not been watching AEW for a long time. But I unfollowed him on Instagram. I don't want nothing to do with him. I'll block fucking any sight of that fucking bullshit. Every once in a while, it's hard for me not to engage with these fucking Twitter dudes who have like 10 followers who say some exculpatory fucking shit. I don't even know that's how you use that word. And just to get a viral tweet. So I've done said about all I need to say about that, and it's time to talk in this podcast with something relaxing. So the last year or two, my safety blanket, I'm a big YouTube person. That's why I decided to stream on YouTube. I love YouTube. But one thing that's had me in a fucking chokehold for about the last year or two is YouTube gaming retrospectives. Some of these people are so fucking talented. There was a time where I thought, maybe I'll quit everything. I'll stop making music and I'll dedicate all my time, quit my job, and start doing fucking YouTube reviews and retrospectives. There's your buzzword right there. YouTube retrospectives. So, you know, people will... There's some amazing stuff. Hopefully, maybe I can get some of my favorite YouTube retrospective people on this podcast. I have a couple guests lined up, actually. I'm not getting into all that. But about a year or two ago, I was able to acquire a M1 Mac Silicone, and then I decided, you know what? I did not grow up with computer games. I was a console kid playing Nintendo 64, PlayStation, all that good shit. I'd never had a fucking Xbox. But nowadays, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a Steam account, and I'm going to play some fucking computer games. And then whenever I got on that bitch, I realized you can't play that many games on Mac. So a friend of mine put me on something called Parallels, which is how you can basically run Windows from a Mac. So I tried that out, and I've been playing some video games last year or so on Windows on my Mac. One of those game series I've been playing lately is a game called Half-Life. So I just finished Half-Life 1. Half-Life is now one of my favorite video game series. It's tons of fun, man. It is Half-Life, the first one came out in 1998. It's ahead of its time, man. It is a first-person shooter, pretty much. It's pretty simple, pretty easy to understand. Very fun to play on sword and board. And, yeah. So, basically, the thing I love about Half-Life is, you hear this a lot, you hear tons of YouTubers say the word atmosphere. It has fucking atmosphere. The sound design is impeccable. It's got its peaks and troughs, if you will. The music is very 1998, but I think Half-Life got overshadowed at the time because it happened to come out in the same year as a bunch of other legendary games, other legendary first-person shooters as well, like GoldenEye, stuff like that. Zelda Ocarina of Time came out that year, you know. WWF Attitude. You know, I remember I waited for Attitude when I was like 8 years old, man. And I could not wait for that fucking game to come out, and it ended up being fucking ass. So, Half-Life, one of my favorite things about it is they just drop you in this fucking scenario and they don't really tell you much about what's going on. Whole lot of fucking subtext. Pretty quickly you realize you're in some sort of facility with a bunch of scientists and shit hits the fan. You know, they ease you into it at first. Aliens, stuff like that. But what I like about it is it's not just a bunch of mindless shooting. Click, 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 shoot, 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 go to the next room, shoot, 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 go to the next room, jump on this thing, jump down. It's puzzle solving as well. And back then, you just had to figure shit out. You know, you had to deal with it. The weapons are very balanced is another thing I like about it. You know, the shotgun, you know, has tons of ammo, doesn't do all that much damage. The SMG, you know, doesn't have that much ammo, but does a lot of damage, you know. And then there's all these types of weapons that don't exist in real life as well. So, you know, right, for instance, right here, you know, the story's great. So all these Marines start showing up or whatever, this government, military, whatever, because they've been sent in to kind of contain this fucking episode that's happening at this fucking facility. It ends up, you realize it's called Mesa, Black Mesa, and you're out in like the desert or some shit. So they kidnap you right here, and you gotta fucking get out of this thing as the walls are closing in, and you see that the platforming is a fucking bitch in this game. That's pretty much the only downside, I'd say, to the motherfucking game. But nonetheless, you are... look at this right here. I just wanted to show this part. Splat! Your fucking bones and organs and shit go all over the place. I'm gonna fast forward. I made this video way too fucking long. Oh, look at this fucking monster right here. I love parts like this in the game. You just know what's gonna happen. He busts through that glass. You know, lots of stuff like that. Amiibos up on the screen. Fucking buttons to push, blah, blah, blah. All kind of good shit. This dude here, boom, I bust him right in the face. Then you get to go outside. You know, you can tell you're up in like a desert type of deal right here. I like, just look at that. It's a fucking eerie feel. You jump in this green ass fucking water and it's like, there's got to be something in this water. Holy shit. Yeah, so, I mean, and then this gun right here, it's this big ass fucking laser gun. You know, there's a fucking helicopter shooting at me. You know, they put you in some of these crazy scenarios, and you can blast that fucking helicopter down just like that. There's these big ass things on the ground. They're like fucking made of like ball skin, and you can jump way high in the air. This fucking building starts to come down on top of you. Whoa, pause. Hey, yo! This chapter is actually called Forget About Freeman. They fucking leave you in there to die, man. There's these fucking laser tripwire fucking gimmicks. There's these motherfucking, there's tanks everywhere. This shit starts getting out of control. Oh my god, there's this big like fucking alive arm gun right here. It shoots like these little wasp bullets they go around fucking corners and stuff. Amazing game, Half-Life 1, man. And then you eventually get to where it's like basically these portal fucking orb things, which this game was produced by Valve Core, amazing fucking video game company developer. They don't really make games anymore. They actually created Steam, where I got this fucking game from. But this is probably the precursor for a game they would eventually make called Portal 1 and 2. So eventually you get to this fucking outer space, you know, alien shit, which you pass through a portal. You find out these scientists were experimenting you know, trying to fucking do tests on the aliens and shit, and it went wrong. And they need you to go up in this motherfucker and defeat this big boss thing, man. So that's Half-Life 1, man. Go back. This is Half-Life 2. I beat Half-Life 1. A whole lot of fucking fun. 10 out of 10. Would play again. Recommend. So I've moved on to Half-Life 2. I haven't finished it yet. You get in this fucking go-kart looking fucking thing, and this crane picks you up. It's very similar to the first one. Just this one come out in like 2004. Oh my god. It's in the fucking, you know, open world area. It's definitely linear, masked as this like open worldy kind of game. These big fucking grasshoppers coming out the sand on your ass. Half-Life 2, you're out of Black Mesa, you're out in society. It's clearly this like post-apocalyptic sort of deal going on. Children of Men vibes. There's this gravity gun fucking thing right here where you can flip fucking things over. Very creative, a lot of fun. Once again, the reason why I like this series is you can solve these little puzzles and be creative. You know, it's not just monotonous shooting and continuing and shooting and going and shooting. It's driving. It's moving things out of your way. You are on a fucking journey, man. And you are on a hero's journey because in Half-Life 2, everyone knows who you are. Basically, this underground railroad kind of rebellion, stand up against the authoritarian fucking forces that be sort of faction, looks at you as the fucking messiah, basically. They're like, fuck, this is Freeman, the guy that fucking took down Black Mesa, blah, blah, blah. You know, you got shit like this in this game. You know, the atmosphere, man. The world building. It's amazing. Whole lot of fun. And this dude right here, he gives you a motherfucking... They got these things, which were bad guys in the first game. I killed a ton of them. They're good guys in this game. This dude gives you this fucking RPG thing that, like, the first game they had it, but I did not know once you shoot the fucking thing, you have to use the aim to guide the missile to hit the fucking thing that you want to hit. So, and by the time I'm in this game, I figured it out. Hold on. This part right here, you actually get to use this crane and knock these fucking bitch-ass motherfuckers out. Very, like, GTA 4 vibes right here. I had a lot of fun in this specific part. And once you're done, you get to pick the fucking cart up and swing it over to the deck. And now I'm back on the road here. These fucking little ball things, man. You shoot them off, you shoot them away, and they just come the fuck back, bro. You know, I didn't know what the fuck to do with them. Then eventually, they stick to your car. Then eventually I figured out, hey, just fucking grab onto them with this fucking gravity gun and yeet them into the fucking sea. So let's fast forward again. Oh, right here, you get the fucking bow. I love the bow. It was in the first game, and you can fucking zoom in and you one-shot that motherfucker. Long distance, bitches. You know, you got this fucking bridge portion. I'm skipping through a lot of this shit. You got this bridge portion. There's like these energy field things like this right here. And what do you know? I use my brain, and I get my gravity gun, and I pull the fucking cord out. And then one of these fucking helicopter things wants to kill you. One of those helicopter things eventually jacks your full ass fucking car. Whoops, go back. And then you get on the bridge here, and this fucking train, it's like, what's going to happen? A cutscene? No! You fucking die. So, I wanted to track the sound on this because they made this fucking go-kart gimmick sound like a goddamn monster truck, man. It sounds badass. So, here's another fucking car battery puzzle. You know, the first two batteries are like very close by. They're very easy to find. But then it's like it forces you to find this third battery, and it's like, where could that fucking third battery be? Oh, it's in the fucking car outside. So, Half-Life 2, been a lot of fun, a lot of driving. I knew that there was some driving, but I didn't know it was going to be that much. And then you're driving, you're stopping, you're conquering some shit, you're driving, and then eventually you get to where these fucking grasshoppers try to ruin your life. And anytime you walk on the goddamn sand, they're fucking with you. But eventually, one of those things I said was a bad guy turned good guy, gives you fucking food, and the grasshoppers are your friend now. Spoilers, my bad. Look at this environmental fucking storytelling here. You knock that thing down, makes the bridge, and you can go. So this part is fucking epic as shit. You know, you're inside the fucking walls of this fucking base, whatever, and you can command these fucking grasshoppers to jump over a wall and all that good stuff. Intense shootouts. You know, you get in this base here, and oh my god. So. Half-Life 2, man. So, I recommend Half-Life 1 and 2 for sure. They're pretty cheap on Steam. Even if you have a Mac, I recommend Parallels. Maybe we'll talk about Parallels on another episode, but this has already run pretty long. I'm going to try to do this one night a week. Probably Thursday nights. I did this one on Tuesday night. Just because of this week, but go stream my song PLAYBAW. Go make a TikTok dance to it or some shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have some guests. I'm gonna try to make this podcast as entertaining and as valuable as possible, and not just sit up here and rant and talk. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. Go bitch about Tony Khan, go praise CM Punk, go stream PLAYBAW, watch the Ole Miss Tulane game this weekend. I don't think you're going to be regretful. And go play some video games. And it's just off the MILF Hunter, how you mama now. And you have just watched the pilot episode of the PLAYBAW podcast. All right. Good night, everybody.
The PLAYBAW podcast.